I'm gonna, back up a little bit just because I want to reference something about that telephone voice. I just thought that was absolutely amazing. Look, about a year ago, we attempted to start the podcast, right? And we recorded like 5 episodes. Very first episode we're gonna record, this guy right here, he turns on the Rode, bam, and he starts talking, and I turn and I look at him, and I'm like, who is this guy right here? Like, who's this dude? It was like a whole different voice, a whole different personality, and I was like, where's my brother? Where did you go? So yeah, when you were talking about the telephone voice, I just couldn't stop thinking about that story.
Yeah, we get
it's amazing. And I honestly, I think that's part of the journey for some people, to try to find their own voice, right? Eventually, I think it comes down to confidence. You're talking the personality, right? And I think sometimes for example, for me personally, I feel being repetitive in front of the camera, it has allowed me to come with confidence and finally show my personality. But the first episodes and the first 45 lives that we did, it was horrible. I was like, well, I'm pretty awkward here. What's up, guys? Right? And I was like, okay,
I want to tell you, we were the same. Like, when we haven't solved this, by the way, we're working on this too. We have not solved this. Like, we struggle. Like, we put a new piece of material in Rob's show. So I write Rob's show with him, and we put a new piece into the show, and it was Hypnosis show. He walks on, and we're like, who the hell's that? Like, you look like you're in the Thunderbirds. Get off. Do it again. Right? So, like, this happens all the time. The first time we did our podcast, we did the same thing. We turned into Howard Stern, immediately. We were like, hey, how are you?
So
for us,
go ahead. Sorry, Rob. Go ahead.
The email marketing show is our 3rd podcast, and the reason it's our 3rd podcast is because we didn't get it right on the first 2, and so we definitely, for loads of episodes, we got off and hung up and went, "Who are those guys?" Like, we did the same thing, but about each other. So, I mean, and it's so easy to do.
Yeah, this fun we're having now, it was as if the record button on the Rodecaster was the same as the comedy off button. Like, they were like tied together. It was like record. You can only have one of the other. It was like a switch. You can have fun, or you can be recording a podcast, but never the twain shall meet. That's what it was like.
Yeah. And I love these guys. Like, for you listening, if you are like in this journey of trying, and you could do it like in copy, you could do it in artistic ways, you could do it on a podcast. Like, your personality has to come through if you are, the face of that business, because people are gonna relate to you. They're gonna relate to your stories on how you talk, how you share those things.
Sorry for interrupting you here, but that comes with Rob said that he's like, hey, if you have a boring personality, that's fine, because you're going to relate with the right person, right? I mean, if you're struggling to put a personality that is not yours, right? You're probably like killing your creative environment, your own creativity, you're killing it. And then you're going to connect with probably not those that are your dream customers. So at the long run, it's not going to be beneficial at all.
Yeah. And what's awesome when you're doing it with your personality is you come up with analogies, you come up with metaphors and stories that are uniquely you and your personality, you would say. Like, if I suddenly now started talking about an analogy which was to do with stocks and shares and Forex, I'd be like, you'd be like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Where if I talk about something that's a little bit crazy, you'd be like, oh, this makes sense. He's a bit mad. And that'll be fine. So everything becomes easier if you're just doing the personality thing. And also, so does your confidence. So what's really interesting is people say you have to have confidence to get your personality across. What if it's the other way around? What if you could use the fact you're just being your personality and knowing, actually, I'm not hiding anything. So there's nothing to be worried about. Because the only time to have no confidence usually is if you ask people why they don't want to do a presentation, for example, it's because what if they ask me a question I don't know the answer to? Well, guess what? If you're just being you, there's nothing they can ask you that they can go and they can't catch you out. They can't say what about this, because you're just being you at all times. Yeah. So that being you will allow you to build your confidence, actually, because you can just be confident in the fact that you are just being you. There's nothing to be more confident about.